What's good, everyone? Welcome to the series from start to finish, where we watch a series all the way from the start to the finish. Intros and outros, cutouts of the first video and the last video. This one is going to be special. We're going to do a review. So at the very end of the video, so you wanted to see that, skip to the end. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This was one of the more interesting comics. The story was, we'll get into that in a review. But yeah, go ahead and enjoy. Let's get it.
Sooner or later. What? Speech impediment came in there. Sooner or later, you'll be mine. Chapter 1, Undertale comic dub. Uploaded by Callisto. This is a comic dub we will be visiting in our break from Handplates. When we finish this, we'll go into Handplate Season 2. Is there only one season of this comic dub? I hope so, because if there's not, then I don't know where the rest of Season 2 went, because I could not find it. Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. Spoiler free this shall be, or you shall be banned from the channel. And let's see how it goes from this step forward. I feel like this is gonna be like a romance anime, so I'm saying it like that, you know what I'm saying? In that type of dialect. But right word, who knows? Sounds cool. Sounds smart. But yeah, who knows, bro? This could either mean sooner or later you're gonna be mine, like some romance thing, or it could mean sooner or later you're gonna be mine, as in you're gonna turn bad sooner or later, and I will defeat you. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw Sans and Frisk, what I assume to be Frisk at least. I mean, who else is the other human in the gosh dang underground besides Gar? Face to face, or you know what I'm saying, they're both on screen in the thumbnail. Nevertheless, let's continue right into this, guys. I'm ready for it. I've been hyping this up. There may be some breaks in between these episodes because I'll be gone for 4 days on a little family vacation thing, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that's ever gonna get me away from YouTube, to be honest with you. Because I gotta keep the content coming for you guys. But yeah, so I apologize for that if it happens, but yeah. Show some love on this, guys. We get this series to at least 40 likes, maybe 50. We'll make it a series, okay? If it doesn't hit that, we'll probably go back to Handplate Season 2. Now, don't hype, like Season 2 is gonna come regardless, okay? So don't be rude to this if you actually enjoy it, but you just want Handplate Season 2 now. Show some love, okay? So yeah, leave a like if you do, and let's get into it. Link in the description for anyone that's seeing this for the first time like I am. Make sure you watch it first and hit the like, show some love.
But I didn't think he'd actually do it. I was hearing the rumors.
I wanted to hear the duh he says.
I didn't think he'd actually do it.
Very important there.
As if our town wasn't a big, miserable wasteland of violence.
Oh, what the heck? There's other humans here.
Misery. And Moida already.
What AU is this called?
He's actually welcoming their kind into it as well.
Now he's actually welcoming their kind into it as well. Okay.
Frisk paused, her hairbrush in mid-stroke, as she heard the piano man grumble crudely under his breath.
This doesn't feel like a dub. This just feels like gosh dang
in this club before.
Narration.
Told, it didn't have a great dressing room.
I mean, they are narrating right now, but you know what I'm saying, where they read the book to you.
As many owners put it. So Frisk took it upon herself to dress up in the ladies' bathroom. After putting on her shimmery low-cut baby blue dress, all that heavy makeup to her face, she exited the bathroom, leaving her after-show clothes in one of the broken stalls, and began brushing her hair on stage. It didn't take much to styling, which was one of the main reasons why Frisk had cut it short into a bob hairstyle. One less stupid thing she had to worry about before she got on stage. Just brush it till it looks neat, put a flower in it, and the crowd still think you look like $1,000,000. Not that Frisk cared too much about what her fans thought of her. All she wanted to do was sing, get paid, and go home before she saw another fight break out between the members of her audience. Gang members erupting into violent and bloody fights in the middle of her songs were becoming more and more common over the last few months. And what were these fights?
The heck is Frisk determined to do? I'm missing the point here.
Really? Gang members enter another gang's territory, drug deals gone bad, gun deals gone horribly bad. It didn't matter. The result was always the same. Somebody would be leaving in a body bag. Frisk hadn't gotten used to it, but she had definitely become quicker with dodging flying bullets and pieces of furniture that came her way.
You can't dodge a bullet, brother, but I see what you're saying.
But now it was obvious.
They either miss or they hit them shots, boy.
Was quickly sinking into corruption, thanks largely to the mob groups that were overtaking large areas of her city.
Not what I expected coming into this, by the way.
Mobsters ran everything from the small mom-and-pop stores to the police force. Even the city's officials were nothing more than corrupt individuals in nice suits with clean smiles. The good, decent, poor folks suffered the most, having to pay out protection fees. But there were always more ways.
This is where I bring
to
up the
make money.
point of
Everybody had a price.
I say people that
Everybody
make
could endure
Undertale stuff,
or change themselves for money. Frisk
like
knew.
different Undertale AUs,
To
could
her
have just
despair,
made it like a
she
whole
watched
separate
a number of her
thing.
longtime friends get lost.
Like
in the
Sans could
world
just
of
be a whole
losing
different
money
character
and
like
quick hits.
Georgie. You know what I'm saying?
She had been to more funerals than birthday parties this
You
year.
didn't even gotta call
alone.
Frisk Frisk here. It could just be guys
She could never
named
blame him. though.
Caroline.
The world was going through a depression after all, and Frisk herself was not exactly a wealthy professional singer. Right now, her gigs were at seedy clubs with even seedier owners, whose businesses reeked of cigar smoke and strong booze. And no matter how many times Frisk showered, the smell seemed to linger.
Now, we're only 3 minutes into this, but I've got to say it before I forget. I feel like they're just using Frisk and Sans and all their names just for clout here, because I don't think this story needs it, bro. I feel like they should be completely separate from that whole Undertale, you know, recognition. But let's see if
And her
there's
nightly
anything that,
audiences were the lowest class of
connects it.
criminals. Not that Frisk judged them on poverty levels. In fact, most of the best people she knew were struggling to get by.
we're talking pacifist
But
route.
when it
Of
all
course,
came down to
Frisk
the
doesn't want there
wire,
to be
a rich
violence.
mobster was just as bad as his poor lackey.
But, you know, come on, that's
Both
pretty
types
broad.
murder for money and power, and both types will harm the innocent to get what they
At that
want.
point, you can say if anything's bad happening, you
Frisk
could
really
really
needed to
genocide.
get out. She just hadn't
So
saved enough
therefore, it
money
relates to
yet.
Undertale.
She may have been a
Not enough to
popular
satisfy
singer in
me.
these types of bars, but the pay wasn't great. She made just enough to pay for her
Was there
crappy
ever a
apartment,
singer that was a
her
fallen
bills,
child?
and the protection
Undertale?
fee her local police force demanded of its residents.
Look at the last table in the back. You'll see what I'm talking about, Toots.
That's,
Seeing Don D was a shock in itself. Even a
Is
small
it gonna be
fish like
sad?
Frisk knew who he was just by looking at him. A top dog, a big shot, a huge fish.
a big shot. Hey, watch your words, bruh.
Here comes the boy, hello boy.
It's already claimed by Deltarune.
And the fact that he was sitting in this piece of shit of a bar was astounding in itself. The man was known for class and expensive taste. The suit he was wearing outshined all the cheap ones that almost all the other club patrons were wearing. But the Don being here wasn't the
I don't know,
most
that ain't
shocking
sense.
part.
Is it?
The most shocking part was his companion.
Oh, okay.
The gentleman sitting beside the Don was
Yeah, it is sense.
not from the city, to say the least. And if he had entered the club by himself, he would have been killed instantly.
You ain't no gang member. Is you now? And you enter in this club to hear this beautiful lady sing. We didn't invite you. Bam, bam. And guess what? Cops ain't gonna do nothing. Bro, that loosely, that loosely of a protected environment. That loosely that someone random comes in and he's dead in the place. Well, to be honest, they said there was gunfights there, you know, every time that show happened there, so I guess they don't
Sitting
care.
at the Don made him untouchable.
Don't know what kind of society
In
this
fact,
is. I don't know how
most
it's
patrons were
organizedly
going out of their
ran
way
either.
not to stare at him.
Say, is
To
he?
say as such,
Ah.
Frisk should be
Yep.
being ran by
The
a
Don
gang
himself
member
is
as well.
inviting monsters in the operation now. Can you believe that, Toots? Disgusting monsters. He's making a mistake is what he's doing. Gonna lose all that respect. Monsters. Now this town really has sunk as low as it can go.
Alright, so
Frisk
obviously,
frowned at his
racist towards
choice of
monsters.
words
Nice,
and the
love to
effect
see
they
it.
had on her, but continued to stare, even though
Typical-
she felt
typical,
a little
ain't
bad
it?
doing it. She knew that people who differed from her own race, and in this case species, shouldn't be stared at like they were some kind of spectacle. But Frisk really couldn't help herself. Sure, she heard all about the monsters that lived in the neighboring cities miles away from her own. And sure, she knew they looked different
There's
from
obviously
humans
ain't
and their
post,
customs and
any type of
politics were
route
worlds
here.
apart from human. But to actually see one was...
I guess we could see this story as if, and this will draw a correlation to Undertale, as if a war never happened in Undertale.
It was something that deserved a second glance. He was a massive monster. He was taller than any human Frisk had ever seen, and he was wide, too. Not fat, but there was no denying how incredibly powerful he looked. He made the Don's bodyguards look like little boys.
Little
And
boy.
his suit was even more impressive than the Don's, if that were possible.
If this is Sans, though, his
jacket,
skeleton
fedora,
has
and
to look
trousers were black,
huge, my
while
boy.
his waistcoat was an eye-catching
Like his
red.
ribs are like a gosh dang
Frisk wasn't too
building.
fond of that color, but she had to admit the monster had style. A fat cigar was in his teeth, and the smoke coming from it was strange. It wasn't grey smoke. It was red smoke, and curled in unusual designs before it disappeared. But his size and clothing were nothing compared to what he actually looked like. He had a huge smile on his face, and despite the dimmed lights, Frisk saw a glimmering gold tooth flashing in his mouth every time the skeleton turned his head. Damn freak.
However, I will still say we could change the characters here, and it'd still be an interesting story.
That look. Frisk didn't understand why his friendly little gesture sent a cold chill down her spine, but she quickly dismissed it.
It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna talk to him if I can help it. So, that's that.
The only thing that's relating me to like Undertale with personality-wise is gonna be Sans
I
smiling.
ain't touching
That's
this.
it.
No law against looking.
It's really
She
good.
needed to get out of this city. Go somewhere nicer, where smoke from cigarettes and guns didn't greet her every second of every day. Where people actually cared if another person was killed. Maybe when she had enough saved up, she could move to the country. Maybe live in a pretty cottage and start a garden. She couldn't remember the last time she saw a flower growing.
Last time I'm
outside.
talking about it though.
She smiled faintly. Her mother always talked about starting a garden when Frisk was really little.
Hand plates.
But
I don't
going
think
back
you
to
can
our
change the characters,
conversation,
right?
the Don really is making a mistake. As soon as we let one monster in, more are gonna come. Just you wait. I mean,
Look
look
at
at
everyone
what
getting
happened when we
scared.
started letting the
Goodness, I hate
donkeys in.
this.
Why don't you keep those disgusting thoughts to yourself and get ready for the show?
Yeah, tell them
Since the Don is
Frisk.
here, we can't afford you screwing things up.
There we go. There
Word
we
around the
go.
grapevine is that you aren't the cream of the crop when it comes to playing that thing.
It was a lie, of course.
There you go.
Frisk knew nothing about this man. But that didn't stop her from feeling a sort of smug satisfaction enter her as the piano man's face changed from cocky and arrogant to enraged and disgusted.
Goddamn bleeding hot whore. You and your time
Hey, hey!
Boy, there are so many problems in this world. You treat the inferior a certain way and suddenly they start demanding to be treated that way by everybody.
It was always
Shut
nice
the
to be
heck
told
up.
that. Whenever somebody told her that or something similar to that, Frisk couldn't help but feel like she was more than just some seedy boss singer.
Pacifist
who
route
sang for
first, for sure.
murderers and criminals.
Yeah, like I was saying though, like hand plates, you couldn't switch, bro. Gaster was just a random person or whatever, or Sans or Papyrus, because we kind of needed that Gaster ominous to be up in there, and then knowing who Sans is as well. Even at the beginning of hand plates, it showed the original Undertale storyline, so it gave us some stuff to build on the characters without needing to be done. That made the story
Showtime.
more big. This right here, I'm not seeing any resemblance besides Frisk being pacifist route and being alright with the monsters, and then Sans having a smile. Besides that, I think the characters could have been switched. It may even be better. I'm just saying. Because
She
now it's like I
sang the
can't
first
help
song with
relate this
ease.
to other
For much
things
to
I'm
her
saying that make more
disappointment, the
sense.
piano man
for
didn't make
Frisk to
one
me.
mistake. The guy knew his instrument. Too bad he was a racist prick. For the most part, Frisk loved musicians, all that passion being played through their fingers or mouths. And whenever she spoke to them, they always
not something
wanted to
bring
be
it up,
something
though.
more
Maybe.
than what they were. Just like her, they dreamt of getting out of the city and being somewhere safe and pretty. At one point, when Frisk was younger and still wanted to make singing her life's career, she would dream of marrying a gentle musician. The two of them would become famous and sing at only the best clubs, and have children who loved music and would sing and play too. Frisk never would have thought in a million years that she would grow to hate the talent she once cherished. The spotlight was always too bright. The places always reeked of blood and booze, and the applause was laced with lewd comments about her body. She was too weak for this city.
Typical.
She knew,
Typical.
but thankfully none of
Typical.
these cruel
Hate
people
to see
knew
it.
it. Her dad told her that if you show any weakness to people like mobsters and criminals, they would eat you alive, and she had no doubt that he had been correct.
If I hold you in my arms, I won't die.
Whoa! Now let's let the shots go, brother. Because bar fight, ain't it? Or maybe they don't fight because Big Sans in the building, baby. Big Sans. I like your voice, yeah.
Such a lovely crowd here tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank Mr. D for honoring me with his presence and tolerating my cat screeching I like to call singing.
Forcing back the vomit and physically battling with herself to keep a smile on her face, Frisk blew a kiss directly at the old man who had killed so many people, whether they were guilty or innocent, whether they were a part of his gang or an innocent bystander.
I really need to get out of this town.
Hmm.
I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under
my skin. Interesting. Okay, and it's over. Sorry guys, can't help it though. You know what I'm saying? I gotta say it. Gotta say it. I wish these were different characters. I do not want to see this
Still
part.
some good guys out there.
Show less, please. Thank you.
Too much makeup. Don't get it wrong, she didn't mind some makeup every once in a while, but the rouge on her cheeks was too bright, her blue eyeshadow was too heavy, and her red lipstick was too much. But that's what the club owners always wanted. That's what the men in her audience wanted.
You just got like some like coffee bar or something, bro, where there ain't savages in there the whole time.
I need to get
Acting
out
like
of here.
menaces. You ain't gotta wear no makeup, just sit there saying they're like, wow, you're so beautiful, so talented. You're in the women's bathroom. What are you doing in here? Well, miss, you like your singing. That's all I had to really say. Let's see what happens.
No, please.
There was only one reason why a straight man would enter the woman's bathroom, and first learned what it was when she first started singing. The man who had attacked was big too. He had grabbed her and shoved her up against the stall's doors, and would have done so much more if it hadn't been for a lady who needed to use the restroom at that moment. Security was called and the man was removed, as in beaten and almost killed, removed.
Rightfully
Frisk opened her
so.
mouth to scream for help, but the music from the jazz band blasted through the door, letting Frisk know that her chance for calling for help and actually having someone hear her was gone. She didn't know what she was going to say to try and
You think
talk
after
her
the
out of
first
the thing
incident,
he was
though,
gonna
she'd
do
like
to
go
her.
somewhere else to do that,
And
bro?
through her mind-numbing fear, she actually took a second to wonder how a skeleton could do something like that. But she wasn't curious enough to find out.
Look, mister, I don't want any trouble. I was wrong. He isn't gonna rape me. He's gonna kill me!
That line, bro. Oh, goodness, okay. I was wrong. Okay, alright.
Don't like smokers, dollface? I
I
understand.
mean, obviously he's not doing it
It's a
right, that's why
nasty
I'm
habit.
laughing.
Sorry about entering the no man's land that is the ladies' room, but I just wanted to help us solve our little problem we were having back
Sure, if he was
there.
gonna kill
They
you,
didn't have a problem.
whether it be a loud
Frisk
gunshot,
never
he
did
wouldn't do
anything
it in the
to him, so there
bathroom.
couldn't be
Because
a
they would
problem.
definitely hear that.
You
He just
see,
randomly do it.
dollface, I noticed you staring at me, so that's why I was doing this.
Plus, we know
He
these are the
must have
main
been
characters.
insulted that she had been staring at him. Of course he was mad and wanted to confront her about her rude behavior, even if his way of confronting her was downright terrifying. At least he wasn't being violent. Yet. Frisk didn't know much about him except he was a monster who was sitting with the Dawn, and only people who were like the Dawn sat with the Dawn. He couldn't be good news. However, she also knew she couldn't afford to insult him again, so she took a deep breath and offered her best smile. She hoped with every fiber of her being that she could talk to him calmly to a point where she wouldn't get hurt.
Listen, I'm really sorry about staring.
Of course, I was staring first, and I like what I see.
I knew it was
Before the
coming.
light resurfaced in Frisk's mind.
Oh, wait, what the heck? Whoa, hey, whoa, hey. Whoa, that's not what I was thinking. Hold up. Whoa. Hold on. I was thinking that, like, you know what I'm saying? He likes her, right? That would happen. Gosh dang, narrator, you almost put me down the wrong path there, bro. If I didn't jump right back onto my words.
Towards
Goodness.
the door. He looked big and slow. Maybe she could just run past him. Maybe. So tell me, dollface.
I'll be honest, you ain't running
Do you
past
like
him,
what
man.
you
No,
see?
ain't no way.
The question was not something Frisk had been expecting, and instantly her mind gave her every reason why she didn't like what she saw. He was clearly some kind of big-shot criminal who had no problem hanging out with murderers.
Keep this in mind though, girls. Let me tell you real quick, because there was a moment in this, I ain't say nothing though, you know what I'm saying? Where Frisk blew him a kiss. If you don't like a guy, don't blow a kiss at him. Let me clarify more on why, actually, about this, what I'm saying. Not because, like, oh, it's your fault because you blew him a kiss that this is happening. No, let's get that right. He should not be in the girls' bathroom. We know this, okay? I'm just saying it's escalating it, okay? It's escalating things, right? If Sam was just looking at her the whole time, he didn't look back, or she didn't look back, you know what I'm saying? We good, you know what I'm saying? We gravy. It's just a little pro tip, right? Just don't do it because, you know, they're going to feel some type of way and then it's going to incline them more to be the bad person they really are. You feel me? The weird person they really are. Going to a girl's bathroom, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? And this goes for guys, too. There's some crazy girls out there, bro. you wink at the wrong girl, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like, you hot stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say a girl, you know what I'm saying? They're going to meet you somewhere secluded with their life at your neck saying, hey, if you don't date me, you're dead. So pick one, either date me or you die. Never happened to me. Maybe. Anyways, that's the need to be talking about. Okay, yeah, let's continue.
He flaunted his wealth. He smelt like gun smoke and blood. So when Frisk opened her mouth, only one word left her lips, and she didn't even mean to say it. She really didn't mean to. She wasn't stupid, but it slipped out.
You better tell me or I'm gonna watch this whole series. Ooh, no. Oh, snap. Hold on.
Didn't mean once. He smelled like who had no like what she saw. Expecting. Do you like what you see?
Do you like what you see? Okay. I had to rewind that because all this narration made me forget what the heck he specifically
only one
said.
word left her lips, and she didn't even mean to. It slipped out.
No.
Did he really grab her though? I don't feel like he really grabbed her. I don't know why. Dang, this got me interested though. You know what I'm saying? Sheesh. All right, guys, I'm ready to watch episode 2, bro. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Season to forget. Okay. This is not where we left off, so interesting way to start it.
First song in through the bathroom door, and the applause that followed was deafening compared to the audience's reaction when she sang for him. She really couldn't say she was jealous, though. She heard the men in the band were breathtakingly talented, and their handsome looks didn't hurt either with the female fans. Plus, when it all came down to it, Frisk knew they deserved more love than she did when it came to applause. They clearly still had the passion for their musical gift. Frisk despised her ability to sing, so it was only right that the people who loved what they did should reap the rewards. As the audience quieted down, waiting impatiently for the jazz band's next song to begin,
I will say one thing I'm interested in, since they decided to make the story like have an Undertale base,
would have been good.
As light as it is,
the wind and screams were knocked out of her as the huge skeleton slammed her against the wall. Beyond the skeleton monster's strong and merciless grip pinning her to the wall, Frisk felt something else on her body as well. Something heavy and unpleasant that had centered itself on her chest.
What? Oh, his heart?
Like some kind of an invisible weight. For a moment, Frisk thought he had terrified her so badly that she was having a heart attack. But just as quickly as that thought entered her mind, she dismissed it. Yes, her heart was beating a mile a second, and yes, the fear was clouding her thoughts. But aren't heart attacks supposed to be painful? Whatever was happening to her chest was uncomfortable, but it wasn't painful. It was unusual, but didn't feel life-threatening. The skeleton on the other hand felt quite life-threatening.
Nah. Or maybe his power. Yeah, leaking out of him, goodness. Leaking out of his gosh dang eye. That's his power.
Like her dad said, if you show your fear, they'll eat you alive.
His essence.
City. Of course, this monster probably knew she was terrified. But she wasn't going to give him any more of her fear than she already had. You don't like
Dang.
what you see? Well, ain't you an insulting and rude little thing? The amusement that was in his voice seconds ago disappeared. At first, Frisk really couldn't believe he had actually said that. Was he really insulted that she wasn't all-out thrilled to be approached in a woman's bathroom by a male she never met?
Facts.
Did he seriously just call her rude?
Facts.
Was he kidding? One look at his face and that crazy red smoke now pouring out as thick
Yeah,
as
well, that's
fog
the
from his
episode, bro, where we
socket
blow guys.
was enough to reassure her
It ain't
he
an
was
excuse,
most
bro. I mean, they shouldn't do
definitely
this anyways,
serious.
but I'm just saying.
And when she realized
definitely
that
didn't
he
know.
truly was insulted, her fear disappeared. Despite the part of her mind that was begging her to apologize to this massive and clearly powerful individual.
Come on, Frisky. It's okay. Just tell him what he wants to hear.
That part
Same
of
with
her
the guy doing it,
urged
by
that
the
if
way.
this gentleman hadn't used the word insulting to
They
describe
did something
her,
like that, like,
Frisk might have
like
actually
the girl,
done it.
and then
She would have hated
approaches you
herself
like that,
for
and
it,
you're
to be
like,
sure.
wait.
But there's a
You know what I'm
time to be
saying?
mouthy and there's a time to be smart.
Ain't no
And
excuse,
now
but
was certainly one of those
certainly
times
ain't
to be
helping it.
smart. But he
sorry guys, I gotta go do something real quick. Let's rewind it so I can get the full.
and now was certainly one of those times to be smart. But he did use the word insulting.
Oh, this creep is insulted, is he?
The other part of her mind growled, and Frisk actually had to fight with herself to keep in the ironic laugh that was threatening to come out of her. Rich clothes, golden jewelry, sitting and shooting the breeze with big-time criminals, and then has the nerve to come into a women's bathroom and assault her. Oh, but she was the rude one. And he was the one who was insulted.
I don't know why he's insulted. He's probably just like the rich mobsters around here. He thinks because he's rich and powerful, he can do what he wants and gets anything with a snap of his fingers. I bet he's never had a woman reject him before. Bet his wealth and influence has women falling all over themselves to be with him.
Frisk knew a lot of beautiful and gorgeous women who used their looks and charms to attract high-class criminals. It was one way to survive in this world. And while Frisk didn't judge, she swore she would never become one of those women that tolerated a murderer for the good life. And this bastard was gonna get a reality check if he thought a few words and showing off his gold and expensive suit was gonna have her rushing into his arms.
Yeah, we like
Forget
them
being
women. We
smart.
like them.
She was going for
Strong.
self-respect.
And an eye. Okay, don't worry. It's only 5 seconds, and we're already right back in it.
Would he make her regret? Oh, yes. Was she worried that he might kill her? There was a tiny part of her that was.
Yeah.
Rude little thing. The other part of her was still raging over his little description of her. In a way, it was kind of funny. She honestly thought she had trained herself over who she could snap at and who she had to endure. Guess not. She was gonna pay a high price for self-respect tonight.
Get off!
You know, kiddo, when I first saw us staring at each other, I honestly thought we had some kind of unspoken attraction. I know that was the case with me.
As cheesy
As
of
a
an
man made
undertone
of bones, I
as
have a
his
real
voice
thing
acting
for
may have,
skin.
it's
And
actually
yours
the
is
best
just
I've heard in the
beautiful.
comic dub yet.
Soft.
Both of them,
smooth,
by the way.
Practically flawless.
You can tell they really put their all into it.
Such
Setting
an
the
inappropriate
tone,
song
the,
to be raped and killed too.
She knew why her courage vanished as suddenly as it came.
Dang.
She had expected him to beat her violently, expected him to call her every horrible name in the book, throw her around a bit before he tore off her clothes, do what he was gonna do, and leave her body for some poor unexpecting woman to find. And Frisk would have accepted that fate. She wouldn't have been okay with it, but she would have accepted it, because she would have fought him every step of the way. She wouldn't have just let him do it to her without a fight. But he wasn't doing any of that. And now she truly was scared, because she had no idea what he was gonna do. His rough voice was soft. He was complimenting her, and he hadn't raised a finger to attack her.
This
And
got
her
intense.
hair,
What the heck was I saying,
it's
bro?
so shiny and soft.
Yeah, the
like
time
a
zone,
silk.
how they're shifting their
His
voice
hard hand
accent to
gently
that
rested
time
on
zone.
her
Very
hair
nice.
For a second. Frisk gulped, but the skeleton didn't seem to
Both
notice.
of them.
Yep, just like I thought. Feels like silk, too.
Yeah, actually, everyone's voice has been on point, even the side characters.
In fact, he seemed to be basking in how soft her hair was. Frisk, on the other hand, was having the opposite
Good choice of
sensation.
narrator as
Guess
well.
that's why I was looking at you. Can't help admiring pretty things. His touch was sending disgusting vibes throughout her body, She wanted him off of her. She could literally smell the cigar smoke and blood coming off him, and the closer he got, the itchier her nose got. It reminded her of the small particles that would get into her nose whenever she dusted her home for the week. So that's my reason for looking. So tell me, dollface.
Dang!
Why were you staring at me if you weren't interested in me?
Gosh, there you go, breakers, go, bro. Oh my
She tried to get away
god!
from him, tried to move her body. You don't have to say. I already know. But that strange invisible weight kept her arms from swinging and her legs from running. If she weren't so terrified, she would have wondered what exactly was going on with her body. You don't have to say. I already know. But now wasn't the time. You humans ain't exactly an accepting species. Barely can't tolerate each other as it is. Of course you wouldn't find somebody like me appealing to the eye. I'm nothing more than a freak to you.
Yeah, Sans at this point just assuming
for your
first
lovely
note,
eyes to
you know what I'm
sneer at.
saying? One of them races. Ooh!
She didn't wonder how he could do that to her body. She wasn't worried about how strong he was, or how big he was, or how he just slammed her head against the wall twice, or
Yeah!
his unwanted soft touches. All of them were unpleasant and nightmare-inducing experiences. But they were nothing compared to that accusation. Betty never had anybody confront him either.
Don't you ever accuse me of being racist.
Yeah! Yee!
You can call me a lot of things and I'll accept them with a smile on my face. But don't ever call me racist, you bastard.
Tell him, Frisk.
That damn determined part of her took great pride.
Yeah,
in
there
how she
you
truly
go.
did
Now
not
you're
base a
bringing in
person's
some of that
character
until
on
that
their looks.
determination.
Like
you
so
said.
many other people in her city did.
Take back what I
was
said
demanding that she
earlier.
defend herself. Demanded that she uphold her beliefs her parents taught her. Demanding that she honor them.
And the only reason why I was looking at you in the first place was
So
because you
parents
were
are some
sitting with
goats
the
as
dog.
well. We
You
like
got
to
a
hear
thing
it.
for the old man then.
I don't have
Very
a thing
well.
for criminals. Or mobsters. Or criminal mobster monsters who think they can stroll into a lady's bathroom just because they see something they like.
That should set him straight. If you ask me.
Vanished. But how? He didn't hear him move? What? Did he walk into one of the stalls? Now's a great time to leave.
Great narration, bro. My gosh.
Oh, dollface.
Dang,
You are just
man.
too cute, you know that? Getting all uppity and upset over a small business meeting.
It's probably
She
gonna be
didn't
a
know
fake
much about
show,
monsters,
goodness.
but apparently they could do some really insane stuff.
Let me pass.
Now, dollface. Appearing and reappearing out of nowhere, using invisible pressures to pin people down. Something she really didn't want to be a part of. We started up on the wrong foot, especially when these odd abilities were being used against her. Let's try again. How's it going, little lady? The name's Sans. Sans the skeleton.
Man, that was fire. What a great way to end it, bruh. What a great way to end it, bruh.
How's it going, little lady? The name's Sans. Sans the skeleton. Despite the carefree, lazy, and harmless persona Sans was trying to portray to his
These
little
guys
lady,
doing beautiful
the doll
voices.
didn't make an attempt to take his hand. In fact, she not only backed away from him cautiously, but her pretty little face twisted into a look that Sans could only describe as disgust, displeasure, fear, and resentment.
Yeah, like, come on, what you think your reaction gonna be, Sans? I know
He
you
tried
switched
not
up,
to
man.
laugh again when he saw her peek around him towards the door, making it painfully obvious she wanted to leave without talking to him for another second.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately for his little lady, Sans was running this show, and she was gonna leave when he had said everything he was gonna say. He kept his hand out just in case she did take it, but otherwise he couldn't help himself. His eyes wandered up and down her sweet, delicate little body.
Okay, I thought we was switching it up here. I thought we was going into good mode Sans, you know what I'm saying? Good guy Sans. Why is he still checking her out?
Help! Help! Help me!
And once again he felt his soul thump hungrily against his ribcage.
Okay.
Seeing her on stage all dolled up wearing that slutty dress was a treat.
Okay, Sans.
But he hated the fact that everybody else was getting the same view. Took everything in him not to kill all the men and women he saw gaping up at her. Took everything in him not to kill the old man sitting right next to him.
Sans is a tsundere.
Himself.
Confirmed.
There would be a time for all that later, but not right now. In his defense,
This is anime Undertale, bro. This is anime Undertale, and Sans is a tsundere right now. He's like, they cannot look at her except for me.
planning on waiting to introduce himself to her in a more dignified manner.
Mwah.
But when she blew that kiss at Dundee, every bit of patience and rationality left him.
Oh, shoot.
He knew it was just a part of the show, but, well, Papyrus always told him he had a problem with his own jealousy. And he supposed his younger brother was right. He would have regretted his decision, but seeing her in that adorable, oversized sweater dress got his soul pumping harder than he could have imagined. Here she was, the real deal, without all that cheap makeup and revealing dress.
This man's actually a psycho.
And he was the only one who got to see it.
Let's not forget, he says he's obsessed with her,
Seeing her
right?
like that,
But he slammed her head against the gosh dang
it
wall.
made all the extra effort he would have to spend in the future making it up to her for scaring her and slamming her up against the wall well worth it. Not that he really felt too badly about doing that. After all, he gave her a compliment, she responded by insulting him. The little lady needed to be knocked down a few pegs for being disrespectful. But he'd make it up to her all the same.
This is a different type of ego I ain't never seen before. Golly. And he thinks it's all just cool afterwards.
Her narrowed and pretty eyes were now focused solely on him. He loved it. He loved how those hot, angry, and fearful eyes were on him and only on him. He loved it almost as much as when he felt her soul fight against his magic.
This man wants the most toxic
Feeling her
relationship,
soul fight
bro.
him was amazing. Incredible. He was almost tempted to do it again. Maybe later, if she acted up again. You gotta learn to...
Here I am thinking Sans might be a good guy turned to a good guy, right? And then I'm hearing all this dialogue, all this background, all this different perspective in Chapter 3. Why does Chapter 3 have not even as much views as the other ones? This is letting us in on this man's character. Y'all didn't want to see this? It's like, what the heck? This man's kind of crazy, huh? This man said, I might just beat her up again later. Like, stay strong, Frisk, because this is looking worrisome. I thought he's gonna turn good, and then we was all gonna be good and happy and make a good, better world. But this is looking quite corrupted, and I don't think you can get saved from this, Frisk. So stay strong, girl.
To be nice, little lady. It makes life a lot easier. But it's late, and you're probably tired. So I'll excuse this forced unpleasant encounter like it never happened.
I think you need to learn to be nice, buddy.
God, she was so cute. But he had to give her credit. She kept that anger in. She didn't explode on him a third time. So she must have known how to treat high-class men like himself. She just had a tendency to forget when she got angry.
Get out of here.
Not a safe character trait, but if she did have another slip-up, he would let it slide. For tonight.
That should be a side ... ellipses of depression for you, Sans. You disrespectful son of a god!
Frisk. Did this girl have the ability to not look cute?
How do you know my name?
How do you? This man is a big shot. Gosh dang it, he knows
brothers
everything.
and neo-monsters who run a special kind of business in our city. And we want to extend our business to the good humans of your city. So before I met with Dundee, I cased...
Plus, didn't they announce her before she sang?
...in need of our special services. As you can see, I may be a bigger fella, but I can disappear and reappear without a single person ever knowing I was here. To his delight, her fearful confusion was starting to change to disgusted anger again.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, she was...
I'd go to speech accompaniment class for not being able to pronounce R's right.
...had the greatest prizes. So
These
one of the
boys
things
just
I did was go to your bars and eavesdrop on conversations.
Deficit and live life.
Get a feel for how things will run in this city. You're seeing a lot of these trashy bars.
I mean, he says R right a lot of times, except for instance in the middle between a word, or in the middle of a word.
But he shoved that unwanted jealousy away. He wouldn't have to worry about that for long, though. I
Like
saw
you said,
you.
woe.
I want you. And so I learned.
I saw you. I want you.
I like you, and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
Well, I don't think you and I will be doing anything any kind of way.
Okay, I see you choosing the hard way. You gonna make me ruin that fight, Chris. I'm a warrior.
I saw you. I want you. And so I learned all that I could about you. Followed you around for a bit.
What the?
I even know you ain't racist.
Oh.
Just wanted to see how you'd react.
See, exactly. That's what that background just told us.
And that's how I learned your name. You really should feel honored, Dollface. I'm usually a lazy gent, but you sparked something in me. Nah, I'm just pulling your leg, pretty lady.
So you just maniacal.
Before
just
you got on stage, they announced your name to the audience, remember?
Exactly! That's what I said!
But seriously, little lady, me and my bros will be spending some time in your city. And I'm
Yeah, I was
sure
like-
we'll be seeing more of each other. So
Oh,
say you
there's
and me go out
thumbnail.
and have dinner. You won't have a bad time.
Mark my words, creep. You and me are never gonna spend time together.
Don't worry, Dollface. I'm marking them all right.
Shut the heck, bro. Sans is just a punk in this one, bruh. You had my credits in this first 2 episodes, but now you're just exposing yourself. Acting like a grade A peasant. How dare you? How dare you hit my first Chan and say you'll hit her again? Ah!
If only he had been more patient instead of rushing after Frisk, then maybe she'd be sitting with him right now.
Exactly. What was that? Did they see what happened or something?
Took longer than I thought.
Right from the moment he first met this old bastard, Sans utterly despised him. Sans pretended to be respectful to him, mostly because he had
Yes,
to in
sir,
order for
big
him
man,
to plan to work.
yes.
But this old fuck didn't return the favor. Didn't bother to hide the clear disgust he had for Sans, and didn't hide his distaste and hatred for monsters in general. Talked about Sans' race like they were bugs or something, but Sans endured it, taking solace in knowing this unbearable partnership would be very short if things went according to Wingding's plans.
Wingdings, huh? But yeah, I really didn't expect this turn for Sans to actually just be...
Everything always went accordingly when it was Wingdings who was doing the thinking, and Sans couldn't wait to show Dundee just how fragile the human body was. Sorry about that, Dundee. Monster stuff and all that. He felt like a little bit of his soul died every time he had to kiss up to that old man.
Well, that was our final song. Thank you, everyone.
Monster. I don't exactly know why you'd call a meeting in this place. The drinks are terrible, the entertainment is mediocre, and the food is ghastly.
Sans stiffened at
hate
the
it
Don's
all, hate
unintentional
everything.
insult to Frisk, but he let that slide for now. Right now, he was supposed to be the happy monster, who was grateful to be doing business with the most
At least he
powerful
likes
human the
Frisk,
city
bro, so
had.
she's somewhat safe.
Yeah, well, the
Somewhat.
boss wanted something
Somewhat.
low-key,
You saw what happened.
and the nicer places would have drawn unwanted attention to your enemies.
At this point, all my enemies can't touch me, monster. But I do appreciate the privacy this place does provide me. Not only do I not have to have you in my home, but none of my business associates will see me with a monster.
I'm gonna kill you so bad, Jimmy. I'll make it last, too.
Real quick, check this out, because when we saw them together, we thought they was really close, really tight, right? Now we're getting to see what their actual thoughts right next to each other were the whole time. We thought they was all cool. They just hate each other.
See? Everybody wins, Dundee. But let's get down to business. My bro has all the weapons you desire, ready to be shipped out to you at a moment's notice.
Just funny how you can assume
And in return,
things, right?
all you monsters want is a little bit of territory in my city to do business in.
Yep,
Based on how two
that's
people are
all
close
we
to
want.
each other.
Complete control over
Physically.
a small area without the interference of you and your men. I better not be backing out.
I have a reputation to uphold, and I might be a laughingstock if my associates found out I was doing business with a monster.
You won't be a laughingstock when your gang is holding our weapons. Sans smirked when he saw the old man's eyes glitter with greed. Some humans were just too easy. Sans continued.
With our special brand weapons, you can still maintain control over your own city against future enemies. And you can even extend your power in other cities as well.
Sans' smirk widened as he saw the Don's
Yes,
doubt
now
leave
you're
his
talking,
face.
Sans.
Like
you
he said,
disgusting monster.
too easy.
I suppose the little territory in this city won't be the end of me.
Yeah.
Just so long as you agree to notify me when your business deals are not with my people. Understand? I still run this city, monster. And you will ask me for permission like all other gangs do when your deals extend outside my circle. Is that clear? Good. Now, as for your territory, just give me a few days to figure out which one would be a good match for your business.
Sans quickly held up his hand, cutting off the Don and trying to keep a cool
Very good
look on his
editing job
face.
for this
Even though
comic,
his
by the
soul
way.
was thumping a mile a minute, the
Even
excitement
just how the
growing
words
in
are
him.
appearing.
This was the moment he was waiting for.
My bros and I would really like the area around City Park.
That area? But that's such a poor part of the city. There are only a few family-owned businesses there and a handful of apartments. My
Some
men only
specials
collect
there.
a protection fee from those people. That area is barely profitable, monster. It isn't a good place to set up your shop.
With all due respect, Don D, I disagree. There's other things I can collect from there.
No. No, not me, sorry. Unless Gaster has hyped up Frisk and told everyone in the gang about her, maybe he saw something special in her. There's no way he's going there just for Frisk, because Sans doesn't make that decision, Gaster makes that decision, okay? So he can be like, there's this picture there, Frisk. But that's not the whole reason they're going there, unless Gaster claims that to be the reason. So yeah, don't try to, you know what I'm saying, bring up the last scream like, ooh, it's because of her. If it is, it's because Gaster has a plan with her, and not just because Sans likes her, which is what they're gonna think you're gonna think maybe, but not me. All right, let's go. Dang, my nose is itchy.
Sans opened his front door with an irritated huff.
Oh, we're about to
His
see his
first
house.
actual interaction with Don D had left him extremely enraged. Enraged,
I'm better than
annoyed,
your little baby.
slightly homicidal, and deeply craving his beloved mustard. But unfortunately, due to that minor territorial dispute Wingdings was currently having with Grilby, the older skeleton brother had forbidden
like ketchup
Sans
more?
and
I guess
Papyrus
this
from going
is a
to any
switch,
of
right?
the Fire Monster's establishments, namely Grilby's ever-popular nightclub/bar. For Papyrus, that was no big deal.
Oh, wait, what? That's Papyrus?
Referred to Grilby's nightclub as that greasehole with no class. But for Sans, the store-bought mustard that was waiting for him in the fridge
Papyrus' voice is fire, bruh.
was nothing special compared to the mustard at Grilby's.
Yeah, they're picking up the pace in this
What made
reading.
it
It's
worse was
moving
that the
fast,
Fire
fast.
Monster's
Let me pay
bar
attention.
was only a few buildings down from the Skeleton Monster's home. Sans had just literally walked past it 4 minutes ago, and the urge to down his favorite drink was nearly uncontrollable. And after tonight, he needed a drink.
Man, I don't want to follow Sans. This
good
man's a
drink.
bum.
The drinks humans seemed fond of were disgusting, to say the least. They smelled horrible.
Irish whiskey. I love my goddamn mustard.
Not only did it taste like shit, but it left the skeleton dry heaving and coughing up the nasty brew. Dundee and his men had laughed at him.
Nah, you can't do nothing
The
about it
memory of their
either.
laughter nearly
Correct.
made
What is this,
Sans
Sword
want to
Art
march to
Online?
that old prick's house and kill everybody there. In the most horrific and violent manner he could think of.
I bet.
Make it
I
so
bet.
bloody and nightmare-inducing that no human would ever dare laugh at him again.
Brother!
You're so tough, Sans.
What happened with the meeting with the human?
Sans looked up at Papyrus. Despite the fact Sans was older by a
Papyrus
few
is so
years,
freaking clean in this, bro. What the heck?
Papyrus towered over him.
His voice and
Hell,
everything.
The
Oh my
youngest
gosh, I
Gaster
never
seemed
heard
to
a
tower over
cleaner
a lot of
voice.
other monsters in the city of Fel. And with his sharp teeth, claw-like hands, proud cracks on the right side of his skull, a vicious stare, and infamous temper,
Proud cracks. Okay, what were those from?
along
That
with the
makes him
well-known
proud.
fact, if pushed the wrong way, Papyrus could erupt into a full-blown violent confrontation. It was no wonder to Sans why many of the smaller gangs in the city would cross the street if Papyrus was walking towards them. Granted, Sans was also pretty well known for his own temper, but he could control it with a bit more ease than Papyrus could. which was the main reason why Wingdings
bit
chose
more
him
ease,
over
huh?
Papyrus on conducting
Well,
business with the humans.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Not only do I not have to have you in my home,
If
If
Papyrus
Sans can control his temper more than Papyrus, I can only imagine how bad Papyrus is, bruh. You probably wink at that man wrong and he's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just tried to do like an Amber Heard thing. Okay, anyways, let's go.
had been the one meeting with Don D tonight and
Dog
heard
stepped on a
everything
bee.
D had to say about monsters.
She got a random sneeze from whatever the heck she was doing.
Club without closing an eye socket, including Sans little lady.
Oh!
Needless, a single person in that club without closing an eye socket,
Oh, yeah.
including Sans little lady.
Alright, focus
Needless
in,
to
focus
say,
in.
Sans was grateful to Wingdings for that decision. Despite his foul mood, Sans looked up at his brother and couldn't help but give Papyrus an amused smile. Normally, Papyrus spent hours fixing his suits to perfection before leaving the house, but
That
right
is clean,
now
bruh.
his favorite red tie hung loosely around his neck, and his black dress shirt was halfway unbuttoned and wrinkled.
Sup, boss?
Papyrus
Fan
winced at
girls
the
in
nickname,
despair.
so naturally Sans always called him that.
So hot.
To
Look at his
Papyrus,
shirt.
Boss was a nickname every low-level monster in Fell City seemed to be given by their even lower-level criminal workers. And Papyrus was not just any mobster. He made it a point to show other monsters that, if he felt the need to.
Dang, so he,
These
okay,
days,
okay.
most monsters knew better, but those first few years when the Gaster brothers were still
Papyrus
making a
strong
name
and
for
he knows
themselves,
it. And he
well,
flexing it. He demands to
one
be
could
higher
say
than the
things
boss
got
level.
dusty. But Sans had to admit,
He probably want
those were
wingdings to
some
roll
fun
on.
first few years too.
You know what's up, brother. You're an hour
You
late.
know what's up?
What happened at the meeting? Brother!
If he swings on him, imagine.
Sans,
This man has grunted 8 lines in the comic dub. Look, so the next lines, just keep grunting. Are you sure? Okay, I can do that for you. Was that good? Yeah, that was good, man. We're putting that in right now, dude. My goodness.
too late to be drinking.
Oh, how the times have changed. Sans started to say something, but thought better of it. Sans learned very early in life that arguments with his brother never stayed verbal. They would become physical, and Wingdings would always have to break it up. And while physically fighting with Papyrus wasn't a big deal, as Sans could hold up his end fairly easily. The fact that it was late and Wingdings was most likely sleeping was a big deal.
Ah, so mistake me. That was Papyrus on the cover, not Wingding. I just never seen Papyrus drawn like that. It's very nice. Also, we got Nat playing. I must say,
Sans and
never
Papyrus
mind. Sorry,
both
start.
learned at a
I don't need to
very
fill in
early age
anything. Let's
that they
continue.
should never wake up Wingdings when he was sleeping.
I'm immersed. Look at Papyrus,
While
baby
Wingdings
Papyrus.
was used to Papyrus' loud personality, a
Sans
fight
looks
among
cool.
his two younger
back then.
brothers
Now he
would
just looks
most
like a
definitely
bum.
wake
Just because
him
we
up.
saw his personality with the look, I guess.
Fine. Sit down and I'll tell you how it went.
What did the humans say? Did you get the area near the water? How much is the protection fee there? When can we move our business there?
So I'll take it back. Papyrus isn't like the top dog, strongest ever. I'm pretty sure Sans still stronger. Papyrus just holds himself higher.
Okay, bro. For starters, don't get mad. But I didn't ask for the area near the water.
Got more pride, I guess. Toxic pride. They will gas rep though, that's an issue.
Sans, I wanted that area. It's the
AKA
perfect
Wingding.
place to introduce
Did they?
those possess.
I missed the image. It's going so fast now. Oh, someone was listening. Okay, never mind. I take it back. Sorry. It's going. The pace is so much quicker now.
Humans to
must have to
monster
keep up.
culture. All those restaurants are just begging for my expertise.
Yeah, Sans had to admit, it was a decent area, with some very impressive businesses and, more importantly, It was crawling with humans that could be easily influenced. And with humans like that, Wingding's plan would be put into motion much faster.
Maybe they want humans on their game. Maybe my poll I made before wasn't so far-fetched.
That area didn't have a little lady living there just begging to be played with. He thought of how much fun he was gonna have with her.
Come
There
on,
he
bro.
goes
Don't
again.
pout.
The great Papyrus does
There
not
you go.
pout, brother.
Yeah, the Great Papyrus. Okay, it all makes sense
I know
now.
you had your heart set on that area, but that place ain't got no humans really living there. They just open up their businesses for the day, work, close them up by the end of the day, and head home to other parts of the city. Wingding said we needed humans that live in the area we are gonna take over. Plus, there are 1 or 2 restaurants near the park.
I suppose you're right. We need to make our fantastic presence a constant factor to those humans. Let them know
So this
we are
is how
running
Sans
things.
plays in
And
his
we gotta
own
let them know we are not
little
going anywhere
plan.
either, bro.
contort what Wingding
The Great
wants,
Papyrus can work
so he
with
can get
this
what he
new change
wants.
of plans. When are we gonna move down there and make our introductions to those humans, brother?
D wants his weapons by the end of the week, but he said we are allowed to introduce ourselves as the new landlords tomorrow morning, when the humans drop off their protection fees.
Tomorrow?
Interesting.
Shit!
Sans blinked in surprise. Papyrus hardly ever cursed. He said the language was beneath him.
I must practice my speech.
Oh man.
Papyrus would want to leave for the
Papyrus
human
still
city
funny,
early
bro.
tomorrow.
Looking as crazy as that.
That was just fine with Sans. If Don D knew anything about how his thug ran that area,
Has Sans
where
made a
Frisk
single
lived,
pun yet?
his little lady would be the one who delivered her apartment's protection fee.
Just so whack, bro.
Sans wouldn't miss seeing that adorable look of fearful
I
surprise
hope
on her
Frisk
face
puts
for
a
the
freaking
world.
hole in Sans head, bro. No cap. No cap, bro. He deserves it. This man need to be humbled. For real. Alright. This is like 16 minutes, so. Let's get a little bit cozy. A little bit cozy.
Frisk woke up with a painful migraine. The day after a singing gig was always so terrible.
Cozy fit.
Frisk didn't
cozy
exactly
fit
know
first.
why she got these brutal headaches after a night of singing, but they always occurred the next morning without fail. Maybe the headaches were the results of her nights at the clubs when she had to inhale all that cigar smoke.
True, that would do
Or
it.
maybe the headaches were caused by the loud music and applause
Both.
from the crowd that always
Both.
threatened to burst
It
her
all,
eardrums. Or maybe it was the fact Frisk physically forced herself to smile the entire time she was on stage.
All of it.
Maybe it was all
of
those things combined.
Yes, it was. It was.
Frisk didn't know why. All she knew was that she had a bad headache right now and she was gonna have to deal with it for the rest of the day.
And you gotta go, you know what I'm
And
saying?
just to make things worse, it was the first of the month. It was the
make those
day when
payments.
Don D's thug would collect her apartment's protection fee. The only problem was D's thug, Nick, didn't want to collect money from each person in Frisk's apartment himself. There were over 60 different rooms in total, and that was too much work for one guy to do in a single day. So on the second month after D's gang took over the area, Nick ordered the people of the apartment complex to choose one person to collect and deliver the money to him. Of course, it wasn't just her apartment that had that arrangement. The businesses like the small grocery store, the 2 little eateries, and the local church were also required to pay. And just like her apartment complex, Nick ordered all the owners and the high officials in the church to put somebody in charge of collecting the money and delivering it to him.
That's crazy that back in the day, stuff like this would happen. You get a hardworking individual that makes a business, you know what I'm saying? From the ground up on their own, you know? And then out of nowhere, some person comes in and they're like, hey, do you guys want a bodyguard, eh? You can pay us, you know, whatever, some of your wages that you get from your food items or whatever you're selling here, whatever this junk is, yeah? And we'll be your bodyguards for you, eh? How does that sound? Sir, I kinda gotta say no thank you there, you know what I'm saying? We haven't had too many commotions here or anything bad happen, so, but I appreciate the offer. Oh, is that right, huh? Not too many bad occurrences, huh? Alright, well, I hope you enjoy your day, mister. And then day after day, they just cause havoc in the shop, you know what I'm saying? And so you would literally have to pay the dudes to protect you, you know what I'm saying? Or they will cause havoc, or, you know what I'm saying, instead, and just make your business just horrible. And you worked on that business from the ground up, bro. Imagine that, bro. That's toxic. That's toxic. That sucks. And that's what people had to deal with back in the day, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't specifically there, so who knows how legit these businesses were that I was having to. But hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, just in general, just the thought of it, that junk sucks, bro. I also seen some stories about people who were happy that, you know, a mafia was protecting their business, you know? But, you know, two sides.
After meeting that monster who called himself Sans last night, Frisk couldn't bring herself to undress and take a shower. She had tried to.
What, did she feel like he was like watching or something?
She hated to admit it, but the skeleton successfully terrified her so much that he had practically reduced her back to being 10 years old again.
You know, you see a
still
skeleton
alive
up close
and
like that,
living
like an
with her,
actual human
Frisk
skeleton with
probably
glowing
would
red
have
eyes, and they
slept
look
with them.
huge as a mud, bruh.
Instead,
You see
she
the
settled on
bone
taking her
texture on
blankets
your
and
face
pillows
in
out of
real
the
life.
room, lied
Like,
down
feel
on the
some type of
couch in
way.
the living room. That's where her brightest lamp was, and fell into a fitful sleep, jerking awake every time her unconscious mind allowed the image of those unblinking
So this
red
is at night. You
sockets
can
to
take a
enter
shower
her
at night. I
dreams.
feel that. I feel that.
Yes, he said he was
When
just
you watch a
joking
scary
about
movie, you know what I'm
following her
saying?
around
It's
for a
like, I
while.
want to close my eyes under the shower,
Frisk
bro.
wasn't sure when he had been lying or when he had been telling the truth last night.
Yeah, because he kept switching it up on
Frisk
you.
had been around plenty of unpleasant and scary people to learn the telltale signs of when somebody was being deceitful.
You could tell she was scared because she forgot that they even announced her name on stage, and she thought he just knew her name. You know what I'm saying? That's how shook she was.
But with Sans, well, it was hard to read a guy's facial expression when his eyes hardly ever blinked and his smile never went away.
Yep.
And with no muscle or skin.
As a man made of bones, I have a real thing for skin.
And yours is just beautiful.
It doesn't matter anyway. Even if he was telling the truth about spending some time here in the city, what are the odds he's gonna be anywhere near me?
She took a quick shower, put on a yellow sweater dress, and pulled her hair into a small bun, giving herself a quick look in the mirror before going to every tenant in the complex to take their hard-earned money away from them, just so she could put it in the hands of an old man who didn't even need the money. Frisk knew that the money Dundee received from her
There you have
apartment
it.
complex and what he received from those little businesses were more or less pocket change to him. But if somebody didn't pay it... The first month Nick collected Dee's money from everybody was horrible. 3 people couldn't pay the fee. 3 new apartments opened up. Everybody paid
They ain't killing them just like that. That ain't usually how it happens. Usually they pay with stuff until, you know what I'm saying, eventually, you know, maybe their life.
every cent after that. Frisk made sure of that. With a sigh and a
But I'm pretty sure they didn't just kill the
hatred
person.
for
They just
Nick,
had to pay with
Dundee,
other- in
Sans,
other
and
ways.
herself, she started collecting from her lovely and poor neighbors. Frisk was at least glad they understood she hated doing this. Everybody else in the apartment complex had been too scared to go to Nick's place of business after he killed those 3 people. It was no wonder why
It's almost
everybody
like they
quickly...
say, like, when spies get captured, the last thing you want to do is actually kill yourself, you know what I'm saying? You want to get as much intel from them as you can and then try to escape. If you can't escape, then, you know what I'm saying, the last resort is kill yourself.
agreed that Frisk could
Spy,
do the
watch
task
the
after she had
spy
eagerly
anime. I'll
volunteered
pop up on the
herself.
screen. That jump was fire.
Everybody had the money except for a young woman with 3 little children. Pretty and chubby Miss Tin looked panicked and was on the verge of becoming hysterical as she explained to Frisk that one of her kids got sick and she had to spend the money taking him to the hospital. Frisk had nodded, believing her, and made a mental note to herself that somebody couldn't pay. She went to the next floor.
I wonder if Frisk ever
Everybody
paid for
except
someone.
2 people.
She probably doesn't have
The
money
first
for
man
it, to
was
be
a fat
honest.
construction worker who only got work every so often. Nicest guy
That's
in the
human
world.
Sans right there,
Frisk
golly.
chewed her lip when he'd broken down into tears and begged Frisk to talk to Nick about letting him have a couple more days to pay. Frisk nodded her head, but didn't have the heart to tell him that he'd probably be dead by the end of the day if she did tell Nick that.
Yeah.
The next person on that floor who couldn't pay was a disabled woman. Frisk made the same promise to her about talking
The thing
to
is,
Nick.
as she's doing this, she doesn't realize that Sans and them have
Okay,
her area
3
now.
people aren't paying.
And on it went for nearly 2 hours of Frisk knocking on doors. People either gave her money and she'd carelessly stuff it in the envelope, or they'd give her excuses. And when her task was done, she tallied up everybody. 7 people couldn't pay, and only
Dang.
2 could afford to give her half of what the fee was. She was already an hour late, and Nick tended to get angry when people were late. He saw it as a sign of disrespect. That's the reason why the owner of the grocery store had only one hand now. You're more than 2 hours late, you're probably gonna lose something that's attached to your body. Frisk really hated these people. She really needed to leave this town. But she was at the hour mark and she needed to hurry.
And we bet.
I'll clean it up when I get back.
She wasn't gonna do anything when she got back except head to the library. The silence always helped soothe her headaches. She'd saved a lot from all her music gigs, almost enough to leave, and she wanted to leave the city so badly. She had promised her parents she would leave, but things kept happening. She loved the people
That's
in her
just how
apartment
it
complex
goes,
too.
bruh.
All of them good, hard-working
Want to
people
save
who
up for a
refused
new
to give in to
PC,
a
but
life of
things
crime.
just keep happening.
Honest
My
and hardworking
controller's
people are so
drifting
hard to
now.
find in
Of
this
course,
world.
PlayStation.
Frisk had
gosh
promised
dang it.
herself and her parents that she'd leave the city, but she'd also promised herself she'd help as many good people as she could.
Rare people like that need to be saved.
And boy, did these people need help. And until Don D fell from power,
Oh wow, I
Frisk
think you're
was
saying
stuck
for
in
him,
this
right? Did I
place.
say that?
And Don D was going to get every cent he wanted. Frisk was going to make sure of that. Frisk looked around her messy room. It really was a bad mess to clean up. Probably take her damn near the whole day.
So people don't take advantage
Totally
of
not
Frisk
cleaning
though,
this
for
up.
them not being able to
I'll do
pay,
it
you know?
tomorrow.
They're just like, we'll wait. And then they start saving their money while Frisk keeps spending theirs, so they can't leave.
This city needs Frisk. They need a hero.
Don't get it
Frisk.
wrong, Frisk knew he was praying for her safe return. But any reminder that she could very well die during one of these deadly money transfers was really not comforting to her. But
If you think it's gonna help me, pray away, you insane God-loving man.
and all the people who couldn't pay were at their windows as well, staring down at her like they were waiting on death row. And Frisk knew they weren't wrong.
Dang.
But death wasn't going to be visiting them today.
You guys
You're all
say-
gonna be safe today.
None of them waved back, and Frisk knew they wouldn't leave their windows until she came back from her meeting with good or bad news regarding how much life they had left. And the sad thing about it was, none of them could afford to run. Where would they go? And with what money? They could
Better
hide.
buy a
The
survival
people who
book
hid were
and try to
always
survive in the
found.
wild, my boy. Rip.
She was almost late, as in she was almost late enough to lose a finger. Frisk ignored her, but she couldn't help but notice the terror that was on the lady's face. She was the one who collected money from the 3 businesses in the church and delivered it to Nick. So
Yeah,
whatever
she knows
spooked her
that
must
there's,
have happened
new
when
people
she was in her
collecting money.
meeting with the prick. Frisk would talk to her about it, but right now her biggest concern was making it to the park where
So
Nick's
cold in my
place
house,
of
bro.
business was located at. She was losing time, and while the park was small, Nick's meeting place was a bit away from the main entrance. She now full-on ran to the park storage shed, praying she made it before she hit the 2-hour mark. Years ago, when she was a child, her friends who were once alive
She need to
chased
speed run
after her.
taking the money, not walk. You know
But
what I'm
then the
saying? You better
gangs
be running
and
like
big
that, just
corrupted
going door for
businesses
door.
started growing.
This is what you're gonna have to do now.
The trees were chopped down, the soil got tainted, and the grass was now an ugly brown color from the endless pollutions.
They
and
set the
flowers had
scenery
wilted and
extremely
died
well in this.
many
Like, I feel like
years
I know
ago.
where I'm at.
It wasn't even a park for kids to play in anymore.
Especially
While the
just the scene
playground
where it showed
equipment
the
was
girl that
still
just
here,
collected
most
money.
of the pieces were so old and so broken that if kids did play on them, they'd probably need tetanus shots afterwards. Not that any
Setting up
parents in
scenery
their right
gotta be
mind
the
will allow
best,
their kids to
you
enter
know,
this
most
place.
important thing you
Most
can
times
do
the park was used for
in
junkies
books or
to
comics,
shoot up
you know.
All those empty
Make you feel like
needles.
you're in the world.
Once the big storage shed was used to house gardening tools and plant seeds. Now it had been converted into a bigger building where Nick sold drugs, bought weapons, and collected money. Oh, how the times have changed. She made it with 5 minutes to
gosh.
spare.
Screw you, Nick. I beat you, asshole. I beat you. You're not hurting anybody this time. You're not gonna hurt.
Hey, quit leaning on my door and get your ass in here.
No. Why was he mad? Frisk made it. And plus, this was the first time she was almost late. He shouldn't be mad.
Jesus, what a fucking scatterbrain whore. See, I told you choosing this area was a bad choice. All the people living here, they feel so damn entitled. No respect.
Who was he talking to? Sitting at the desk was Nick. He looked completely enraged. And normally this meant somebody was going to get hurt. And Frisk knew who that person was this time. But her fear wasn't for him.
Seeing Papyrus has to be crazy as well, my gosh.
Standing on Nick's left side was a tall skeleton. If Frisk had a twin and stood on their shoulders, she still wouldn't be able to reach his height. He must have been over 11 feet tall. Frisk stared at his shoes a little too long. She never saw a man wear a pair of red shoes before. But to her
Bro, there's gotta be
surprise, the
people
giant
that
monster...
like, you know how to be hating skeletons and be like racist towards. There's gotta be people that like praise skeletons like they gods, bro. Because you see 11-foot tall skeletons, you be like, oh, do what you want, just keep it on.
seemed to pull it off. The cracks on the side of his face reminded Frisk of those mobsters she had met at her gigs. Those men were scarred up pretty bad from fights. Did this skeleton receive his marks from fighting? And there, standing by Nick's right side, was Sans the skeleton. And Frisk would have been terrified of
Nick
seeing him
still
again and
collect.
would have ran out that door after he'd been staring
he's
at
just
her with that
accompanied by
intense
them.
red look of his.
He's probably
But he
mad because
wasn't.
he has to.
And
deal
that's
with
why
them.
Frisk remained where she stood. Sans was staring at Nick with that empty socket look. And Nick didn't even notice.
Get used to 'em, whore. They're your new landlords, and you've been keeping us waiting for nearly 2 hours. Now get your ass over here.
As Don D has given my family control of this area, as of today, I will not allow that type of language to be used in my presence.
Ah,
Just
tell him,
frozen in her
Papyrus.
tracks as the tallest skeleton spoke. Unlike Sans, his voice was higher pitched and was completely devoid of all humor and lightness. He sounded angry. Just angry and threatening and
Good stuff, narrator.
was Frisk really hearing what she thought she was hearing?
That's fire.
No. He was in charge.
But seriously, little lady, me and my bros will be spending some time in the city. And I'm sure we'll be seeing more of each other.
No. Why would Don D... Sans.
It's like, bro,
The monster who attacked her last night.
them using Sans and Undertale in this story, bro. Like Sans and Papyrus, there's just moments where I'm just like, you know, they're not bad guys. But you can't forget what that Sans did.
Was going to be in charge of her area.
I apologize, Papyrus.
Frisk knew Nick was a big racist, but if Dante gave these two control over an area, they were now bosses.
So keep
Bosses
relating them
were
back to
always
OG
treated with
Undertale.
respect. And that was the only thing Frisk saw as amusing through her terrified mind. Seeing Nick eat shit.
But with some of these people, that's the only way you can talk to them. You'll learn soon enough how bad these people are.
Ah, sure, bud. I don't even know who the real bad one is. In this
So what's
chair.
the excuse for being 2
I
hours
mean,
late?
I'm saying the chair too, but yeah.
Frisk shook the insult off easily, but couldn't shake off his threatening tone. She knew she was going to be hurt today. And if she brought up the fact that she did make his deadline with 5 minutes left, he'd probably kill her. Nobody
Yeah,
talked back to
exactly.
Nick either. Frisk and
People
the
like
others
that are
learned
so
that lesson
dumb,
on
bro.
that first terrible
So
month,
dumb.
along with never be late and always pay every cent you owe Don D. Frisk gulped,
Ah, you were
wondering
5
what
minutes
hand he
early.
was
You
going to
trying
chop
to say
off
I'm
before
dumb,
she tried
huh?
to come up
Yeah,
with an
you did. You made a
excuse.
dumb move, and I
I-
don't think you acknowledged that yourself just now, buddy.
I'm so sorry,
But
Mr.
you
Nick.
accepted, and then we can move on.
I
to
had a
this
gig last night, and
Oversleeping ain't a good reason, you lazy
one. Ah, knock that boy out. Yeah, Sans. You know what? Give him a big hit in the head. How about that?
Go.
Yeah.
Our area.
That's Frisk yonder right there, boy. You better chill out.
You
see him grab a knife, you done. You done.
As of now.
Yeah. That's right, human.
Nice.
And if I may grant you some
Beautiful.
wisdom, you shouldn't be so
Beautiful.
violent. The little human woman didn't deserve that.
A flutter of hope bloomed in Frisk's chest. Maybe Sans was a brute, but perhaps this Papyrus guy might be a lot kinder. Might be a lot more merciful and gentle to the people in her area.
Maybe.
The girl could hope, couldn't she?
She apologized and recognized her mistake that she shouldn't keep her superiors waiting. Therefore, if she must be punished, it shouldn't have been so painful. Perhaps a small smack would have been enough to help her remember for next time.
Brutes.
And just like that, the hope in her chest died as quickly as it came. Well, buddy, I think we don't need you anymore.
I'll be on my way then.
Frisk couldn't help but feel a small amount of glee for the man who killed 3 poor people and hacked a man's hand off. Bro, keep her here until I get back.
And just like that made me want to get right into the next episode again, bro. But I seen this only go to chapter 6, bro. Did the series get discontinued? Where does it continue at? Let me know, guys.
Here, bucko.
Only
I'll
30
give you a
minutes.
lift.
Ooh, I need some water.
So that's how he got in
Water tamed. Right.
front of me last night when I was trying to leave.
Huh?
So that's how he got in front of me last night when I was trying to leave.
Ah. Wait, you telling them about Sans?
Tell me about the restaurants in this area, tiny human.
I need to clean my glasses. Gosh dang it, I'm sorry. Alright.
Nick was in the back alleyway behind Dondee's favorite bar when the old man wasn't conducting business. The freak with the golden tooth was leaning against the wall, lighting one of his f***ed up cigars that made red smoke. Nick knew the monster weapons would help Dondee
Like how you're
extend
seeing,
his
like,
control to other
Nick's
cities,
perspective too now. It's
but he
pretty
couldn't
dope.
help but feel disgusted by the
Switching.
fact they'd be shaking hands with these creatures. But Dondee said to treat him with respect, at least to their faces. Dondee also said they'd deal with the monsters later when the time was right. Nick smiled, dreaming of all the terrible things he would do to this freak for even daring to touch him. So, I hear that Dondee just got done dealing with some gang that was giving him a lot of trouble.
But if this actually is the last chapter and they all just get clapped and it's like game over. Oh my.
What were they called? The Never Dies? Cute name.
Yeah, those freaks would carve an N on their victims' foreheads. Some cult shit right there, if you ask me.
Dondee settled everything with them, though?
Yeah, nasty feud, but a compromise was reached.
Called the
Now
Never
everybody's
Dies.
getting
Who do you
along.
think that is?
Hasn't been a gang war between us in weeks.
Fuck, I missed something, but.
It was reached. Now everybody's getting along. Hasn't been a gang war between us in weeks.
Interesting.
That's good to hear.
He just his head? What's the plan here?
That's what you get for messing with another man's woman, you prick.
I
Sans
told
took
you don't give
great
this man
pains to
anything
ensure that
sharp,
no
bro. I see the
blood
knife,
got
but
on his suit.
anything sharp, bro.
He
He's a
didn't want to
yonder
upset his little lady when he got back. The first phase of Wingding's plans was working perfectly. Now all they had to do was play.
Oh, they were the Never Dies. I had a feeling. I was like, that sounds kind of like either a monster's name or is there like a Frisk Reset type person here?
The waiting game for a little while until they could move on to the next step. Until then, Sans knew exactly how he was going to spend his time.
Wow.
He couldn't keep his little lady waiting.
Oh my gosh, and then the ad comes through. Guys, what the freak, bro? Okay, so under their nose this whole time, they was looking for the Never Dies, and that was Sans, our Gaster's gang the whole time. Not only that, but they did a deal with them when they didn't even notice it. And don't worry, Don D's working on him, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, is he? Because I'm right next to you, buddy. That's crazy, he's working on it. Notice how Sans asked him a question as well to see if they have any knowledge of it at all, and so he can get some word of it. And then he says, don't worry, Don D's working on it. So, oh, you got nothing? All right, no worries, you're dead, you're done. I mean, there's gonna be some questions for Don D with what the freak just happened.
Do you humans even sell spaghetti at all?
Huh.
From the short time she spent talking to the tall skeleton who called himself Papyrus,
There's a theory somewhere in here that they're all just pretending to be bad. I don't know how hard that holds though, because Sans did not have to do what it did to Frisk, so.
Frisk learned a few things about him, such as Papyrus was energetic, incredibly energetic. He no sooner sat down in Nick's old chair for a grand total of 2 minutes before he was standing up again, pacing back and forth as they talked about her area's restaurants. Which
Sans doing that to Frisk though isn't too far-fetched. Because I don't think there's a Toriel here to keep him in check.
made sense to Frisk. At first, when Nick first arrived as the appointed landlord to Frisk's area, he had asked a lot of questions about the businesses as well. The only difference between Nick and Papyrus was that unlike Nick, who was more interested in how successful each business was and how much money they made, Papyrus seemed to be way more interested in the actual food that was sold at each eatery. He asked what she thought of the food. He asked what the other humans thought of the food. He asked if Frisk ever classified the food as greasy, and then asked her to name off every food item each restaurant had to offer. Money was an issue that never came up, not one time. And it puzzled Frisk, but she wasn't stupid enough to voice her confusion. And with each question he asked, he never stopped moving. It was exhausting and nerve-wracking to say the least, as Frisk cautiously
That's
watched
how I be
him
walking around the house, bro.
continuously
And
move
my
without
mom
pausing.
must have
And with his
Can you stop walking around in circles? You're making me anxious.
loud voice escalating every so often, and his dominating posture that never once relaxed.
I don't know, my legs just be moving
There were a
even
few
out.
times Frisk had braced herself just in case of a random spurt of violence from him. But no matter how loud the skeleton's loud movements were, or how powerful his voice sounded, he never once made a motion towards her, which was relieving. Relieving and shocking. But Frisk wasn't one to complain. But all the
Of course
same,
not.
she kept her body tensed and her legs ready to move out of the way if need be. But confusion and despair weren't the only emotions the tall skeleton seemed to pull out of Frisk. It came very clear to her that Papyrus, much like Sans, was an arrogant and entitled jackass. Every answer she gave the skeleton seemed to annoy and amuse him, and he responded with some of the most arrogant and pompous replies Frisk had ever seen. He scoffed at her when she told him that the little diner owned by Mr. Vale made some of the best pancakes she'd ever tasted. He rolled the single red light in his socket when she said the burger stand had some tasty fries and delicious lemonade. And he openly laughed when she sweetly suggested, in a non-threatening way, that he wouldn't be disappointed if he gave both places a try. Frisk was lucky he was pacing around, barely looking at her during their conversation, because he would have seen a look of complete dislike on her face.
Just
She didn't
asking her
know
about
what
food
deal
goes
these
on, right?
monsters made with Don D for them to gain a small area of human
Everyone
turf.
back home is wondering like, am I gonna die today, bruh? Meanwhile, like, for hours and hours, Frisk is just getting interrogated about what's the best place to eat here.
toy. But as far as she was concerned, the prick should have chosen a different area of people to lord his power and terror over if he didn't like the looks of this place.
Screw you, buddy. You can get the hell back to your own city if you think you're too good for my home.
Oh, goodness.
But then all that movement ceased from him when he asked
Did he say that?
spaghetti question.
Oh, never mind.
And Frisk learned another
She
thing
said it
about
was
this
a man.
man.
She thought it.
Apparently, spaghetti was an important subject to him. At least important enough for him to stop moving and stare at her with such an intense look. Frisk could have sworn they had been discussing a life-or-death situation, as opposed to a pasta dish.
And it might be. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
what these people about
The
either.
burger stand is more of an on-the-go sort of thing.
Stands in Paris a little more
You mean
aggro.
greasy fast food? Ugh.
How the hell can you taste anything? You don't even have a tongue or a stomach.
She thought, but wisely decided to nod her head, agreeing with him. Fighting the urge to defend the one-handed Mr. Sloan who owned the burger establishment. As much as she liked the old man, she wasn't going to do him or herself any favors by standing up for him. She liked to keep her face attached to her head, and she was fairly positive that sparking an argument with this overly enthusiastic skeleton would result in a painful consequence.
Yeah. Frisk playing her cards right.
She was already slammed to a wall when she told Sans she didn't find him attractive. So she could only imagine what this more active skeleton would do to her. Plus, when it came to criminals like Papyrus,
It's not funny she got
Sans,
beat up,
and
by the way.
Nick
I'm
who
just
viewed
saying, it's
themselves
just
as
so
being
dumb that you
superior,
got mad over that.
it was best not to bring attention to yourself
So
or the
stupid.
people you love. Being invisible was the best defense you got against mobsters after all. You mouth off,
They're
and
little,
you throw your shield away.
what do they say? Their little Mickey Mouse ego.
Unfortunately, she may have already done that with Sans.
Little fragile ego.
If she had known
there,
that
buddy.
skeleton was going to be her landlord from now on, she might have responded to him a bit differently.
Crazy
last
how
night.
they supposed to be tougher, but
Been
their
a little
egos
sweeter
just
with
gets
her
fragile.
rejections. Told him she already had a lover. Lied to him. I saw you.
We don't know how to be tough and strong.
And so I learned
not
all
have
that I
a
could about you.
Crazy ego about it.
Followed you around for a bit.
His words echoed in her mind, and she
Or a
shook them
healthy
off
ego,
as
I
violently
guess.
as she could.
Where you don't have to go off on
And even
someone
tell
because
her
they
the
say something
truth,
bad about you.
is that why he ended up taking control of her area? Because he wanted her? Or was it just a coincidence? Frisk quickly chose the latter and the more logical of the two explanations to go with.
Of course it was just a coincidence.
It's a little bit of
Why
all.
on earth would a big-time criminal, at least Frisk assumed Sans was a big name in his own city, why else would Dundee even be seen with him if he weren't a big deal? Choose where to place his business based on where a girl lived. Especially when that big-name criminal
Multiple
was never
factors,
even
but
spoken
Sans
of a
definitely leaded
girl.
it to be that specific spot.
And the only time he did, she showed
With his,
nothing but disgust and
orange
rejection.
choice.
And more importantly, even though Frisk had enough confidence to call herself cute, there were so many more women in her city that were much more beautiful than her, and would willingly be with Sans, monster or not. It wouldn't make sense.
Yep, nothing but a coincidence. The guy would have to be insane if this were anything but a coincidence.
But all
Well,
the
Sans
same,
now, he led
Sans
into
came
this,
back.
but
She
Gaster
knew
had,
it
you know,
would be in
other
her best
plans, I'm
interest
sure.
to try and make peace
Not
with him.
specifically for Frisk.
Maybe she could lie her way out of her behavior last night. Maybe tell him she got offended because she was already engaged to be married. Then she could
Oh,
apologize
goodness.
and go
This
from
isn't
there.
the time to lie again.
But right now, she had another cretin to kiss up to.
If you're gonna say
Yeah,
something,
the burger stand
you
can
better
sell
make
greasy
sure it's more
food.
truth than lies.
But to be fair, they're a cheap and easy meal for a family. If you don't have enough money.
if you're doing any type of lying.
Spaghetti is more of an expensive sit down and eat food.
Was he uncomfortable with?
This area isn't very.
Was the person that they said owned the restaurant, whatever, with the one hand flipping the burgers, the burger shop? They also said somewhere in this story that someone got their hand taken from them. I'm guessing that was the person. If that is, then like I said, that's some smart writing. Very good writing in this.
There is no kid.
Classy.
Oh, I just skipped that. Freak. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I watched two of them. I saw Mr. Beast come up with Grammarly, and I just immediately was just like, get off the screen. Mr. Beast just has that commercial vibe to his voice, and I just think skip ad. I'm sorry.
Is it?
He didn't
Classy
sound
is
so
what he
confident
says.
or condescending anymore, though she could tell he was
I usually
trying
watch
to
the ads, by the way,
project that in
of
his
people I
voice.
watch because, you know,
And the
hopefully
smug
get more
smile
revenue,
on his
so
face didn't seem too
I'm already reacting to
genuine.
their stuff, so
At least not as smug
I'm
as it
gonna
was
support them as much
before.
as I can.
In fact, if Frisk didn't know any better,
Especially
she
when I enjoy
could
their
have
stuff, I do
sworn
it anyways,
Papyrus
right?
was
Common
a
courtesy.
little rattled
Courtesy.
about something she said. It was hard to tell with a skeletal face, and she could be very wrong with her theory. But maybe the idea of being around poverty didn't sit well with him. And if he really was mildly upset about the idea of the people in her area being poor, then maybe this might be the perfect opportunity to soften him up so he wouldn't be too harsh. Or too unreasonable when it came to deciding what would be the appropriate protection fee to charge Frisk and her neighbors. The people in her apartments could barely afford to pay the current fee as it was. If it went any higher, she had to be careful. There was a good chance she might be reading his sudden and unexpected expression wrong. But it was an opportunity she couldn't pass up.
I feel like Gas
It was
would
an
make that
opportunity her neighbors
decision for
couldn't
how much
afford for her to
payment he
pass up.
gets. And it
Well,
would have
I
been
wouldn't
already been
exactly call this
decided.
area unclassy, exactly. It is a pretty
I don't
poor
know why it
neighborhood
mattered
after
to
all.
Papyrus.
The smug
Maybe
look
Papyrus
seemed
gonna
to
deliver the
completely
news
fade
to
from his
Gaster
face,
of how the
and the
place is,
tapping
then he'll
on the
make his
desk seemed to
decision.
increase in speed, much like his pacing when he got annoyed.
Okay, girl, keep going. slow and steady will hopefully win this race. That's one of the main reasons why our restaurants can't sell spaghetti. You see, it's becoming a pretty popular food lately, so the price of buying it has skyrocketed. Only the richer areas with nicer restaurants can sell it.
Frisk wasn't lying. It really was too expensive for her restaurant.
Well, like I
to
said,
invest
if
their
you're gonna
money
sell
in.
something,
Would
make
be a
it be
stupid
more truth
investment on
than
their part,
anything
too.
of a lie.
Why spend money on a menu item nobody can buy when you can make cheap food that everybody will be able to afford? Not that not eating pasta bothered Frisk. Burgers and fries, a nice tall soda, and a big piece of pie were all part of a balanced meal as far as she was concerned. She never did grow to
Butterscotch
like
pie.
the taste of pasta, even when it had been affordable.
That's weird. In the monster cities, it's the cheapest thing you can buy.
Cheapest? This guy's wearing a suit that looks like it costs more than a year's worth of rent for me. Why would he be interested in cheap
And when
food?
my bro makes spaghetti, it tastes like nothing you've ever put in your mouth before.
Why does Sans voice change? Why is it like deeper? That doesn't sound right, does it? Am I tripping? No pun intended, because she about to trip right now. What? I ain't gonna make that the last video in the playlist and end it like that. Stop, oh my god. What playlist was I looking at so I can show you guys? This one right here, made by him himself, and it's the last one there. I skipped the movie, of course, but let me see if it ends where the chapter 6 ends. Oh, this ends.
This one
Season 1 ends on
These pods take a
Season 1 ends when Sans killed whoever. Oh snap.
Hey guys.
Alright everyone, welcome to the review portion. Not gonna be anything too crazy, want to keep it pretty fast, pretty quick, you know what I'm saying? Got some notes written down for it. So the intro, okay, we'll talk about that first. The intro of the comic, the scenery, set it up perfectly, beautifully. I need to get something off my chest though. When we first started this comic dub and even to the end, I think it wasn't necessary to make it Undertale related. Papyrus was really the only big effect of making it Undertale related that I thought was like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was cool to see him in this comic. He looked mad cool, you know what I'm saying? Like a crazy cool looking character. Sans, you know, everyone else, I feel like could have been replaced by just like a common character, like someone else you make that's unique. I didn't see Undertale relevance needed in the story. Especially I saw a lot of comments when I posted on TikTok. You guys can check out TikTok Divinely YT. So a lot of people commenting like Frisk was a filling character. You know what I'm saying, blah blah blah, you know. And you know, I mean, you can't disagree because Frisk doesn't really have a personality. It's literally just a player in the actual Undertale game. So you know what I'm saying, you can just have Frisk be whatever you think you want them to be, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, interesting point, but my point still stands, and now I've only watched season 1, of course. You guys seen what I've seen by now, unless you skip to the review section. But yeah, from what I've seen from season 1, I feel like it didn't need to be Undertale related. I feel like you could have made like your own unique universe and still had the story go as it did. I know it gets a lot crazier and like some, you know, weird topics get introduced in there in later seasons, and that's probably why the rest of the videos don't exist and they probably canceled the series. And we're only getting season 1. Anyways though, don't need it to be specifically Undertale related for it to be successful. It was, you know what I'm saying, the story was interesting regardless. The next point, narrator speaking. Yes, indeed. The narrator voices in this were amazing, insane, very nice, you know what I'm saying. He set the tone for the whole story. He kept it solid all the way through. Big shout out to the narrator. Even when he did the characteristics of the characters when they were thinking in their head and he narrated over it, he did it in the emotion that they would have, and he did it pretty well. So big shout out to the narrators. The voices in this comic dub definitely carried it, you know what I'm saying. It could have been a horrible catastrophe if the voices sucked. I should just let that be known. Next up, best Papyrus. Yes, if we're switching over to make a different AU Papyrus, this one was demonstrated perfectly. He had the horror in him, the scariness in him, but he also kept that I like spaghetti, you know what I'm saying, food, yes, I'm a hothead though, watch out, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, the Papyrus was amazing in this one. Best Papyrus I've seen in a comic dub that takes a different take than the original Undertale take. The page transitions, yes, as the YouTube comic dub scene transitioning from page to page, you know, it takes a task in its own self, you know what I'm saying, just transitioning them pages, and they did a great job of that. It was pretty nice. It made it very seamless, even when I was editing my face cam and where I'd be at as the, you know, comic was on the screen. I even took some of their transitions that I did, you know what I'm saying, when they did a left to right linear swipe or maybe like a zoom, whatever it was, I could just implement that on my face cam and make it flow with the comic as well. So that's just how smooth they were. They were able to keep up with your boys editing. Or I was able to keep up with theirs, you know, either way you want to see it, but it was very smooth. So nice page transitions, good, you know what I'm saying, movement there. Next up, villains. Yes, the villains were nice, you know, you really felt their presence, you know, villains being the mafia people, you know what I'm saying, just kind of the town in general. A lot of people were bad, being Sans, you know, Gasper's crew, whatever, the Never Dies, that was crazy. I think that was the name, right? That was a crazy scene, y'all know that scene near the end, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the villains were nice, but I do think they were a bit excessive. Being as in, they did a little too much. Like, you don't pay rent one time, you die, right? If you speak out of line, you get your finger cut off or something. Or maybe, you know, either or, you know what I'm saying? But very excessive. I do believe back in the day, from what I did my research on, they didn't say you didn't pay rent and you're dying. No, you paid in some type of way. A dead man brings no profit. Someone that's alive can bring profit, even if they don't want to. You can kind of force it on, you know, it gets really dark, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know, people crazy things happening. You can probably imagine some things, but yeah, they wouldn't go straight to killing, I wouldn't think so. So yeah, the villains their presence was known, but they were a bit excessive and kind of just, you know, you lose that immersion when they become too crazy, right? Not everyone could be a Joker, come on now, you know. It makes the rest of them just not, you know, it just makes the story seem not as immersive. Next up, Frisk, easy to like, good personality, strong, yes. So Frisk, you know, like the hero you need in a world where there's only really villains. So they were easy to like, you know, pretty basic, nothing too crazy, but their personality was strong there, you know, they stuck to the character. And yeah, you know, it was interesting. Now, as I say these, I should mention that just because I'm saying their characters are good and whatnot, doesn't mean I'm saying they're good for Frisk. Like, I think they are like Frisk. When I played Undertale, that would be like, yeah, that's how Frisk would act in this world. No, or like how Sans would act in this world, you know what I'm saying? I think it could still be any character that they wanted to make that could be unique. It didn't have to be taken from Undertale, but, you know, their choice. You know, probably in the later seasons, I'd see more resemblance to why they decided to make this Undertale related. But yeah. Yeah, that's kind of all the notes I had written down. The last thing I talk about is the discontinued, like how, you know, it didn't continue, obviously. I only saw season 1 and maybe an episode after that. I think it makes it interesting, honestly, for it to be, you know, not ended there. I feel like they should have ended it on the episode where Sans had the Never Die, like came out as the Never Die and killed that guy and was like, I'm the Never Die, blah, 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 blah. I think it could have ended there, and then, you know, we'd have a good short comic dub with a mysterious ending that, you know, the reader could interpret however which way they wanted to interpret, you know, how the stories would end. I mean, I feel like, I can't say too much because I haven't seen the rest of the comic, right? I haven't read it all. Apparently it gets crazy, right? But yeah, from what I've seen, if we're just talking the comic dub, it should have ended on the Sans, you know, Never Die episode, if you want to call it that. And then, you know, that'd be interesting. But yeah, that's really it. There's not too much more to say about it because I don't know the rest of it that happens. I would say from season 1 that I've watched, if it ended on the Sans episode, the Never Die episode, it was pretty solid comic dub all the way through. There were some weird instances in there, like with Sans coming up with Frisk in the bathroom. That was kind of weird. There comes to a point in the story where it gets unnecessary, right? If you're gonna put a scene like that in there, you need to build up to it, not just make it out of nowhere first episode or second episode. I think only then it should cause there. And if you do put it in there, then you need to have the following episodes show us why the heck you had to get something extreme, you know what I'm saying? Think of Tokyo Ghoul, for example. First episode, you see some crazy junk happening. This girl, Rias, I think is her name. No spoilers, check it out, you know what I'm saying? Tokyo Ghoul. First episode, this girl named Rias. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. She's going crazy, eating someone up. It's a very gory, crazy scene. And you're like, okay, I don't know if that was needed, you know what I'm saying? That was a little bit excessive. But I need to get a shave. This thing's like see-through. I need to shave it up like right here. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. You're like, okay, that's a little bit excessive in the animated. You trying to just give me with shock value? Because that's kind of wack if you're just doing shock value here. But no, you see the episodes going after that, explaining why she's so crazy. And she even has her whole part through the whole gosh dang anime without her even really being there. Y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, and you know, something like that needs to happen if you're gonna have a crazy scene at the beginning of the show, if you want to call it that. But yeah, that's it guys. Hope you guys did enjoy this from start to finish. And if you watched this review part, thank you a lot. You care what I say. You care what I have to say, so that means a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one, bro. More start to finish is coming. This will be the first one I've got. Like, I'll let you in if you stayed this far. We're gonna have Desperation coming in, which was only a 2-episode series, but you know, you can watch it all in one. We have a T-Jock FNAF series coming through. We didn't finish the last mission in that series, but you know what I'm saying? It's still gonna be from start to finish format. And yeah, videos to come in general. Undertale, if it was realistic series coming through. We have Handplate's gonna make a return, season 2. I've been holding that one off for a long time, so sorry about that. And what else after that? Not too much, but not that I know of right now. I'll probably have to plan some more stuff. But as you know, as you've seen on the channel, we've been going on forever. There's always something to cover, so see you guys when more there. And yeah, check out the Divinely Twitch, Divinely YT, the other channel, Divinely Live, which the Twitch VODs will be on if we do a playthrough. And yeah, see you guys next one. Leave a like if you enjoyed and you want more from start to finish, just like this with a review at the end of what I did. And subscribe if you're new somehow and you like the content. There's a lot of it on the channel. Naughty, but don't forget that you know what comes out. Swipe left, swipe right. Now you might not want to watch what's out for the day, but at least you know what came out, and you know you'll be in tune with what comes up next, depending on what came out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it divine. Live a good day or night in peace.
Dang, that was loud.
Closer, and he's caught sight of me. He's wary and suspicious, though still silent. Obviously, he sees me as a potential